mop bucket and cleaning supplies, scrubbing floors at 3 a.m. until smoke filled the ICU corridors. They didn't know their janitor was a combat engineer who'd cleared explosive devices in Baghdad. For 23 months at Metropolitan General Hospital, staff had watched maintenance contractor Daniel Breach Martinez methodically clean corridors during overnight shifts. Assuming his obvious attention to systematic floor patterns and detailed cleaning protocols reflected nothing more than typical custodial thoroughness rather than recognizing the calculated precision of someone whose classified Army career had involved clearing improvised explosive devices in the most dangerous urban environments, requiring him to identify structural weaknesses and navigate compromised buildings while maintaining tactical awareness during missions where one wrong assessment could trigger catastrophic explosions that would claim entire squads and endanger hundreds of civilians trapped in contested neighborhoods throughout 3 deployment tours in Iraq. What they couldn't see beneath his maintenance uniform and hospital identification badge was a distinctive blast pattern scar across his back, marking where concussive force during controlled demolition had damaged tissue when his engineering unit had been clearing booby-trapped medical facilities in Fallujah, forcing him to maintain structural assessment capabilities for 14 continuous hours while coordinating building evacuations through insurgent territory and managing emergency demolition that saved an entire field hospital from destruction during the most intense urban warfare engagement, where his combat engineering expertise meant survival for medical personnel treating wounded soldiers under impossible combat conditions. Welcome to Silent Salute, where we reveal how America's most skilled combat engineers sometimes transition to maintenance roles while carrying invisible reminders of explosive ordnance disposal operations. Their extraordinary structural assessment expertise hidden beneath routine cleaning duties, while their combat-tested knowledge remains dormant until emergency moments that transform entire medical facilities and remind everyone that heroes continue serving in unexpected ways through technical competence that transcends job descriptions and maintains life-saving readiness. Before we share this incredible story of hidden expertise that shocked an entire hospital when emergency response revealed years of classified combat engineering experience, tell us in the comments about a time when you discovered someone's structural background that completely changed your understanding of their capabilities and the dangerous missions they conducted in hostile urban environments. And if you believe that our most experienced operators often work without recognition while processing combat memories through activities that help maintain connection to military service and honor fallen teammates, hit that subscribe button to support our mission of celebrating those whose classified courage continues protecting freedom through civilian service that transcends uniform requirements and reminds us that combat engineering instincts never truly fade from active assessment. The Metropolitan General Hospital Maintenance Department operated as essential infrastructure support, where civilian contractors provided facility services that enabled medical effectiveness through cleaning, repairs, and safety management during continuous healthcare operations that required systematic maintenance to support patient care, emergency procedures, and medical staff efficiency in environments where facility failures could compromise patient safety and endanger lives during critical medical interventions and emergency treatment scenarios. The hospital itself represented critical healthcare facility, serving urban population during ongoing medical challenges, where healthcare professionals conducted life-saving procedures and emergency treatment designed to protect community health and save lives, supported by maintenance contractors whose specialized facility knowledge enabled medical success through systematic cleaning, equipment maintenance, and facility management during extended operational periods that tested every aspect of healthcare infrastructure and emergency preparedness capabilities. Maintenance Operations Supervisor Tom Clean Rodriguez managed facility services with systematic precision that ensured cleanliness standards met demanding requirements of healthcare operations, where sanitation effectiveness and facility reliability determined patient safety during medical procedures and emergency treatments that required functioning infrastructure and properly maintained environments for medical personnel protection in healthcare settings, where facility failures could prove medically catastrophic. Rodriguez possessed extensive healthcare facility experience, including multiple hospital positions and advanced maintenance training, providing him with operational expertise and facility management knowledge that enabled him to recognize exceptional cleaning skills while identifying contractors whose attention to detail and systematic approaches suggested backgrounds that exceeded normal civilian maintenance capabilities and preparation for healthcare facility support responsibilities. The contractor maintenance team included former military personnel whose specialized knowledge enhanced facility effectiveness, while civilian employees provided cleaning services and facility support that enabled medical personnel to focus on patient care rather than routine maintenance tasks that required dedicated attention and professional competence during life-threatening healthcare environments where facility problems could compromise medical operations. Daily hospital operations included continuous facility maintenance, cleaning protocol enforcement, and safety management designed to support medical procedures and patient care. From basic sanitation to advanced facility systems whose healthcare success demanded maintenance excellence that exceeded normal training and prepared facilities for emergency scenarios where facility reliability provided medical advantage during crisis response operations and mass casualty events. Martinez, you've been managing cleaning protocols with systematic precision that exceeds contractor requirements and suggests familiarity with advanced facility assessment procedures, Rodriguez observed during routine maintenance briefing, his facility curiosity finally overcoming administrative restraint about contractor backgrounds. Your approach to structural cleaning and safety awareness indicates experience with building systems that goes beyond civilian maintenance training. Have you considered positions that would better utilize whatever facility background prepared you for this level of competence around complex building systems and emergency procedures? Martinez continued his systematic cleaning routine with precision learned during actual combat operations where structural failures meant mission compromise for units, depending on facility integrity. Understanding that proper building assessment enabled operational effectiveness during emergency situations where structural breakdown could endanger lives of fellow service members who trusted facility reliability under life-threatening combat conditions and explosive threat scenarios. His facility management reflected military training that emphasized systematic procedures, structural awareness, and professional competence with complex building systems that enabled him to work efficiently while maintaining safety standards that protected facility effectiveness and personnel safety during intensive healthcare operations that pushed building systems beyond normal operational parameters in high-stress medical environments. Rodriguez, effective facility management ensures operational readiness and building reliability that enables medical effectiveness and patient safety. Martinez replied carefully, his response revealing nothing about classified experience while acknowledging professional observation. These cleaning procedures support operational readiness and facility functionality that requires systematic approach and attention to detail that sustains hospital operations and protects personnel during complex medical scenarios. Facility Operations Coordinator Senior Supervisor Lisa Structure Chun, whose responsibility for contractor performance included evaluating maintenance competence and identifying employees whose capabilities might be underutilized in basic cleaning positions, had begun questioning Martinez's apparent overqualification for custodial duties that seemed inconsistent with his obvious facility expertise and professional bearing around complex building systems during healthcare operations. Chen possessed facility knowledge about contractor backgrounds and qualifications that enabled her to identify unusual patterns in job performance, making Martinez's situation particularly puzzling because his structural expertise and systematic bearing suggested experience that exceeded current position requirements and might warrant promotion to advanced facility responsibilities involving direct infrastructure support and emergency building management. Martinez, your building systems knowledge and emergency facility management suggest background that exceeds typical contractor preparation for hospital maintenance work, Chen observed during performance evaluation meeting, her facility curiosity reflecting genuine interest in appropriate job placement. Most contractors require extensive orientation to understand hospital building systems and emergency protocols, but you immediately adapted to procedures that require structural expertise and comfort with complex systems that suggest specialized background or training that might be better utilized in advanced positions involving direct facility support. Martinez's response reflected understanding gained from military service while maintaining privacy about classified experience that he wasn't ready to discuss with supervisors who couldn't fully comprehend the psychological challenges that accompanied transition from combat engineering to contractor employment in civilian environment where structural assessment triggered combat memories requiring continued private management through specialized counseling designed for explosive ordnance disposal veterans. His careful balance between acknowledging facility competence and protecting personal privacy required diplomatic responses that satisfied administrative curiosity without revealing classified background that might complicate employment status or trigger unwanted attention to medical issues that required ongoing treatment through specialized trauma therapy designed for combat engineers whose classified missions had involved life-or-death structural decisions. Effective facility management requires understanding of building procedures and structural functionality that enable healthcare operations and patient safety. Martinez responded diplomatically, maintaining professionalism while protecting privacy. Facility competence develops through systematic approach and attention to detail that ensures building reliability and operational readiness during healthcare scenarios that require professional handling of complex systems and emergency facility protocols. The curiosity intensified when hospital personnel noticed Martinez's apparent familiarity with advanced building systems and emergency management methods that exceeded normal contractor training, leading to speculation about his background and previous experience that might explain his exceptional facility expertise and comfortable handling of structural assessments that required specialized knowledge typically possessed only by personnel with extensive construction or engineering experience. His comfort with various emergency scenarios particularly attracted attention because he demonstrated familiarity with facility procedures that most contractors never encountered, including structural assessment patterns, evacuation route analysis, and building security approaches that required technical knowledge typically possessed only by personnel with extensive engineering experience or specialized training backgrounds in complex facility environments. Building Systems Specialist Supervisor Robert Foundation Martinez, whose own facility experience included construction work and building safety instruction, organized informal observations designed to assess whether Martinez's apparent expertise represented actual engineering experience or exceptional civilian training that had developed extraordinary facility competence with advanced building systems. Martinez possessed facility expertise and construction background that enabled him to recognize advanced building operations skills, having worked with engineering personnel and facility contractors whose backgrounds included specialized experience that exceeded normal training requirements and suggested technical service in complex building environments during construction or engineering projects. Martinez, your handling of building systems and facility expertise suggests specialized training that exceeds contractor preparation and indicates background in engineering operations or structural assessment. Martinez observed during facility maintenance session, his construction experience enabling him to recognize capabilities that suggested technical training or specialized facility background. If your experience includes military service or specialized training, you should understand building systems that prepare contractors for working with advanced structural techniques and facility security methods that require technical expertise. Martinez recognized the questioning as professional interest from fellow worker rather than casual curiosity, understanding that facility personnel developed bonds based on shared construction experience, while maintaining natural interest in backgrounds that couldn't be verified through normal administrative channels or personnel records that might not fully document contractor qualifications for specialized facility positions. His response required careful consideration of privacy needs balanced against professional respect for fellow worker whose facility competence and construction experience deserved acknowledgement without revealing details about medical retirement and combat trauma that had ended his Army career while requiring continued psychological processing through specialized therapy designed for combat engineers whose structural decisions had saved lives. Martinez, building systems require technical understanding and systematic management that ensures facility effectiveness and operational safety that protect personnel during healthcare operations. Martinez replied respectfully, his military background enabling him to provide facility response without revealing classified service details. These capabilities develop through consistent attention to detail and understanding of structural requirements that maintain building standards and facility effectiveness during emergency scenarios. The workplace speculation escalated when hospital personnel began discussing Martinez's apparent overqualification for cleaning duties, leading to conversations about his motivations for accepting contractor work that seemed beneath his obvious facility competence and structural expertise that suggested engineering or military background that warranted advanced responsibilities involving direct facility support and emergency building management. These discussions occurred during informal gatherings after shifts, when hospital personnel shared experiences and discussed facility operations, creating an environment where Martinez's privacy about his background became increasingly noticeable to workers who understood construction culture and recognized signs of technical experience that exceeded normal contractor backgrounds and suggested specialized service history. Hospital Operations Director Dr. James Emergency Thompson, whose responsibility for overall facility effectiveness included ensuring appropriate utilization of contractor capabilities and identifying personnel whose skills might enhance hospital readiness, decided that direct inquiry might reveal information that would explain Martinez's unusual competence and determine appropriate job placement that maximized his apparent facility expertise. Thompson possessed administrative experience and facility background that enabled him to recognize exceptional personnel and identify individuals whose capabilities exceeded their current positions, making his interest in Martinez's background both professionally motivated and personally curious about worker transition challenges that he understood from his own experience managing healthcare facility personnel and emergency preparedness. Martinez, I've observed your facility handling and structural competence during maintenance operations, and I'm curious about your background and qualifications that prepared you for this level of expertise with building systems, Thompson stated during private meeting, his tone reflecting administrative interest rather than casual inquiry. Your performance suggests experience that exceeds normal contractor capabilities, and your professional bearing indicates background that might be better utilized in advanced positions that require specialized facility knowledge and structural expertise that could enhance our hospital operations. Martinez understood the implications of Dr. Thompson's inquiry, but chose not to reveal classified service that would complicate his contractor status while potentially triggering security evaluations and medical assessments that could affect his employment and personal privacy regarding combat trauma and psychological treatment that supported his civilian transition and recovery from operational stress. His decision reflected careful consideration of career stability needs that protected his economic security while maintaining therapeutic routine that had become an essential part of his recovery from combat trauma and adjustment to civilian life that required gradual healing rather than sudden exposure to administrative scrutiny that might compromise his progress through specialized treatment programs designed for combat engineers. Dr. Thompson, my facility background has prepared me for building management that supports healthcare operations and hospital readiness through systematic approach and attention to detail that ensures facility effectiveness. Martinez replied carefully, maintaining respect for his position while protecting personal privacy. These contractor responsibilities provide meaningful work that utilizes relevant skills while supporting medical missions that require professional competence and structural consciousness around complex building systems. The incident that would expose Martinez's hidden identity occurred during overnight electrical fire in the ICU when building evacuation procedures failed and smoke detection systems malfunctioned, creating a situation where his instinctive response to structural emergency revealed specialized capabilities that immediately attracted attention from hospital personnel familiar with professional emergency response and building evacuation procedures learned through specialized training and emergency management experience. This emergency scenario existed to test hospital response capabilities during actual building crises that could threaten patient lives, while enabling facility personnel to demonstrate evacuation techniques that might be required during structural failures or system malfunctions that could compromise patient safety during intensive medical operations that pushed building systems beyond normal operational parameters in life-threatening environments. Emergency Response Coordinator Chief of Security Patricia Evacuate Williams was supervising Martinez's participation in crisis response when building failure required immediate structural assessment, exposing Army capabilities that immediately triggered recognition based on her own emergency experience and familiarity with advanced techniques that suggested specialized training recognizable to experienced emergency response personnel. The emergency scenario involved ICU patients requiring immediate evacuation with potential structural collapse, requiring rapid building assessment, evacuation route planning, and safety coordination that tested every aspect of hospital emergency response while maintaining patient care protocols that protected both medical effectiveness and patient safety during high-stress crisis situations. Martinez's response to the building emergency demonstrated Army capabilities that exceeded normal contractor training, including structural assessment techniques, evacuation coordination skills, and emergency management that suggested extensive training in combat engineering operations and crisis response that characterized Army training rather than civilian facility certification programs. His emergency performance revealed specialized techniques for maintaining effectiveness during structural crisis operations, efficient evacuation procedures, and safety protocols that indicated training designed for combat situations where building expertise meant mission success and personnel survival during hostile environments and explosive threat scenarios that required professional competence. But what truly exposed Martinez's background wasn't just his evacuation techniques. It was what happened after the initial crisis response, when he continued managing structural assessment for another 8 hours, conducting systematic building analysis that no civilian contractor would understand, using engineering methods that could only be learned through Army training, while demonstrating stress management that suggested extensive experience with life-or-death structural decisions during classified operations. When Chief Williams finally ordered Martinez to transfer coordination responsibilities at 0800 hours, he had ensured complete patient evacuation across all affected areas using structural assessment protocols that should have required formal engineering training. But his safety effectiveness remained professionally flawless due to specialized techniques and operational conditioning that only Army combat engineers learned during crisis training designed for structural operations under explosive threats. Sir, those building techniques and crisis coordination capabilities appear consistent with advanced Army training from specialized engineering programs, Williams observed with professional recognition, her emergency experience enabling her to identify skills that suggested military training rather than civilian facility certification. These capabilities typically develop through intensive programs that prepare personnel for structural operations during Army missions and hostile building scenarios that exceed normal training requirements. Martinez realized that emergency response requirements had exposed classified Army capabilities that he had been concealing for employment reasons. Understanding that his specialized combat engineering skills would trigger questions about his military background and medical retirement that might complicate his contractor status, while drawing unwanted attention to combat experiences that required continued private management. The Army capabilities that Chief Williams discovered represented years of specialized training and specific classified experience that included technical details about explosive ordnance disposal operations, structural assessment procedures, and crisis management techniques that had saved lives during combat scenarios that tested every aspect of his specialized training and personal courage under extreme urban combat stress and explosive threats. Dr. Thompson, summoned to examine the discovered structural capabilities and assess their implications for contractor background verification, immediately recognized the tactical assessment techniques as consistent with Army combat engineering training that suggested extensive classified experience rather than civilian facility certification or normal occupational training that might occur during contractor duties at healthcare facilities. Chief Williams, document these capabilities and request immediate verification of this contractor's military service record, Thompson instructed, his administrative experience recognizing that specialized Army engineering skills indicated service background that should have been documented during hiring process. These structural techniques suggest operational training that typically accompanies classified deployments and Army service that requires appropriate recognition and support services for veteran contractors. The verification process that followed Martinez's recognition revealed his actual military service record as decorated Army veteran whose classified deployments had included multiple combat engineering operations in hostile urban environments, while his medical retirement documentation explained transition from active duty to civilian contractor employment that utilized his structural expertise while supporting his psychological recovery from combat trauma and explosive stress. Military records review disclosed extent of his classified service that included explosive ordnance disposal missions, structural assessment operations, and crisis management experiences that had earned commendations for excellence under extreme combat conditions, while medical documentation explained the psychological challenges and combat stress that had necessitated medical retirement and ongoing specialized trauma counseling services designed for combat engineers. Dr. Thompson, reviewing Martinez's classified military records and operational experience, realized that his hospital had unknowingly employed a decorated Army combat engineer whose structural expertise and military experience exceeded virtually all facility personnel and represented exceptional qualifications that deserved recognition and appropriate utilization in advanced facility positions supporting emergency preparedness. His understanding of Martinez's situation immediately shifted from administrative curiosity about skilled contractor to facility responsibility for supporting Army veteran whose service record demanded respect and whose transition challenges required appropriate accommodation and recognition of his sacrifices for combat engineering and national security missions at the highest classification levels involving structural decision-making. Mr. Martinez, your military service record shows extensive Army combat engineering operations and structural expertise throughout multiple classified deployment theaters, including missions that earned recognition for extraordinary excellence under extreme combat conditions, Thompson said during private meeting, his tone reflecting administrative respect for service sacrifice. Your contractor file failed to document years of Army service and medical retirement, following operational trauma sustained during classified missions that exemplify engineering excellence and operational courage that deserves appropriate recognition and support. Martinez's response reflected the dignity of someone whose classified experience had prepared him for recognition while maintaining privacy about medical issues and combat memories that had complicated his transition from combat engineering to civilian employment that provided stability during challenging adjustment period requiring specialized psychological treatment for classified trauma survivors and structural stress management. His careful acknowledgement balanced appreciation for respect with continued need for privacy about classified experiences that required ongoing psychological treatment and personal healing that civilian recognition might complicate despite good intentions from hospital personnel who understood worker transition challenges and trauma recovery from crisis coordination responsibilities. Dr. Thompson, my Army service included classified operations and engineering training responsibilities that prepared me for contractor work that supports facility missions, Martinez replied respectfully, maintaining dignity while acknowledging recognition. When this position became available, my Army experience provided relevant background for facility management while allowing continued service to community in civilian capacity that supports my personal recovery and transition goals. The investigation that followed Martinez's recognition revealed administrative oversight that had failed to document his Army combat engineer status during contractor hiring process, while his classified experience record explained his exceptional performance and familiarity with building systems that had exceeded normal contractor capabilities and attracted professional attention from hospital personnel who understood advanced facility competence. Administrative review disclosed that contractor application process hadn't included adequate verification procedures for Army personnel, creating situation where decorated combat engineer had been hired as general contractor without appropriate recognition of service background that deserved special consideration and might have qualified him for advanced positions that better utilized his structural expertise and combat experience. Building specialist Martinez, whose own facility experience included construction work and emergency response, approached Martinez with obvious professional respect for Army service that represented shared work, culture, and facility experience that created bonds between technical workers regardless of service branch or current employment status in civilian contractor positions. Martinez's response reflected understanding that Martinez's background represented service excellence that transcended normal recognition while acknowledging that contractor work provided meaningful employment that honored Army experience through continued service to community that prepared facility personnel for emergency deployment and structural challenges in crisis environments. Daniel, your Army engineering experience and structural expertise demonstrate continued dedication to service excellence that honors military background while supporting current facility operations, Martinez said with genuine respect, his own facility background enabling him to appreciate significance of Martinez's service record. Your transition to contractor position while maintaining professional competence honors Army tradition and provides invaluable expertise that enhances hospital capabilities through example of extraordinary service dedication and operational excellence. The demonstration that followed Martinez's recognition became legendary moment for entire hospital, illustrating how Army combat engineering veterans sometimes served in contractor roles, while contributing operational experience and structural expertise that enhanced facility effectiveness through unique understanding of crisis requirements and emergency realities that prepared current personnel for disaster response and structural challenges that required precision decision-making under operational stress. Hospital personnel learned that Martinez's facility services represented more than contractor responsibility, but continued service to community that honored his classified experience, while providing meaningful work that supported his transition from active duty to civilian life, that maintained connection to Army community and operational purpose, that gave meaning to post-service career and continued contribution to public safety. Mr. Martinez represents the kind of operational experience and structural expertise that defines Army excellence and extraordinary precision that inspires everyone in our healthcare environment, Dr. Thompson announced during hospital meeting that acknowledged his service without compromising classified details. His Army background and continued competence demonstrate professionalism that enhances our facility mission while honoring classified service that exemplifies military values and operational courage under the most extreme combat circumstances imaginable. The specialized emergency preparedness program that Martinez agreed to establish became legacy that enhanced hospital crisis capabilities while providing him with meaningful service that honored his classified background by ensuring personnel received training that could prevent casualties during facility emergencies and structural procedures that required professional expertise developed through Army operational experience and crisis management under explosive conditions. His willingness to share structural knowledge without revealing classified operational details created educational opportunities that prepared hospital personnel for crisis situations where his Army-proven expertise could prove critical during actual emergencies and facility challenges that exceeded standard training scenarios and required specialized techniques learned through extreme combat circumstances and structural coordination responsibilities. His classified structural expertise transformed hospital emergency procedures while creating educational opportunities that prepared personnel for crisis situations where his Army knowledge could prove critical during actual emergencies and facility challenges that required technical competence and professional handling that honored Army standards and operational excellence under combat stress. Martinez's influence extended beyond facility instruction to include lessons about professional competence, Army bearing, and service dedication that inspired hospital personnel to approach their responsibilities with greater appreciation for Army veterans whose expertise enhanced facility effectiveness, while honoring sacrifices made during classified service to national security missions that required structural decision-making. Dr. Thompson, realizing that his assessment of Martinez's capabilities had been based on complete ignorance of his Army combat engineering experience and military service, approached him with obvious administrative respect and appreciation for service record that represented the highest levels of Army excellence despite his extensive healthcare facility experience and emergency management background. His understanding evolved from viewing him as skilled contractor to recognizing him as Army combat engineer whose expertise and service sacrifice deserved the highest acknowledgement and whose transition challenges required facility support that honored his Army background while protecting his civilian employment stability and ongoing psychological treatment for combat trauma. Daniel, I owe you formal recognition for your Army service and classified operations that represent military excellence and extraordinary structural expertise that deserves the highest respect, Thompson said during private conversation, his administrative authority emphasizing profound sincerity of acknowledgement. Your classified record and engineering expertise explain capabilities I never understood, while your professional bearing reflects Army values that enhance our facility operations. You've been contributing Army engineering knowledge to our mission while maintaining professionalism that characterizes soldiers transitioning to civilian service. Martinez used his recognition to establish veteran contractor support programs that combined Army experience with civilian employment insights, creating assistance opportunities that helped transitioning military personnel find meaningful work that honored their service while providing economic stability during challenging adjustment periods that required community support and understanding from fellow veterans and civilian personnel. His program development reflected understanding that veteran transition required civilian employment that maintained connection to service mission while providing healing opportunities that honored military sacrifice through continued contribution to community that recognized operational experience and structural expertise developed during classified service to national security missions requiring crisis coordination under extreme combat stress. The most important lesson from today's recognition and the ceremony that followed, Martinez explained during veteran transition seminars that became standard throughout hospital contractor programs, is that Army experience and structural expertise continue serving community through civilian contractor positions that honor service background while supporting personal transition goals. Whether you're conducting classified operations or maintaining facility systems, service excellence continues beyond active duty through professional competence that maintains Army standards and operational readiness. The contractor position had provided Martinez with opportunity to heal while processing combat trauma and medical challenges that had ended his Army career, demonstrating that combat engineers could contribute effectively in civilian roles while maintaining capabilities and service dedication that exceeded normal employment expectations and inspired others through example of continued excellence despite psychological challenges from structural coordination responsibilities. His therapeutic work routine had evolved into meaningful career that honored his Army service while providing economic stability and personal satisfaction that supported his recovery from combat trauma and psychological challenges that required ongoing treatment and community support from civilian personnel who understood worker transition difficulties and stress management for technical specialists. General Patricia Infrastructure Rodriguez, visiting regional healthcare facilities for emergency preparedness assessment and facility evaluation designed to identify best practices for contractor utilization, had requested tour of facilities to evaluate maintenance services that enabled medical success. When Dr. Thompson introduced Martinez and explained his Army combat engineering background that had been recently discovered through emergency response demonstration that revealed years of classified operational experience, General Rodriguez's visit represented command-level interest in contractor programs that effectively utilized veteran expertise while supporting transition challenges that affected community readiness and civilian support for personnel leaving active duty service for contractor employment that maintained connection to service mission and professional community that understood combat experience. Mr. Martinez, your Army Combat Engineering Service represents operational excellence and structural expertise that honors military tradition and demonstrates extraordinary service dedication, General Rodriguez stated during facility inspection, her command authority emphasizing significance of Martinez's service record. Your transition to contractor position while maintaining professional competence demonstrates Army resilience and provides invaluable expertise that enhances facility effectiveness through operational experience that cannot be replicated through any classroom instruction or simulation training programs. The General's recognition of Martinez's Army service created facility-wide awareness of extraordinary veteran contributions to community mission, while her command acknowledgement of contractor programs validated approaches that honored military service through civilian employment opportunities that utilized operational experience and structural expertise for continued community service and emergency readiness in healthcare environments. Official command recognition of Martinez's Army service record provided validation that his civilian transition represented extraordinary model for veteran employment that could be replicated throughout healthcare facilities requiring structural expertise and professional competence that honored classified experience, while supporting personal recovery and economic stability for transitioning Army combat engineers. Years later, when Martinez established comprehensive veteran contractor programs, while maintaining hospital employment and facility responsibilities that had supported his recovery, his story continued inspiring personnel who understood that Army excellence often belonged to contractors whose service records exceeded their current civilian positions, but represented continued dedication to community service through professional competence and structural expertise. His civilian career had created lasting impact that extended beyond individual transition to include hospital programs that served other veterans seeking meaningful employment that honored their Army service, while providing economic opportunities and community connection that supported successful adjustment to civilian life and continued contribution to community safety and emergency readiness. His example reminded everyone that at Metropolitan General Hospital, as in all healthcare facilities employing veteran contractors, the most extraordinary expertise often belonged to personnel whose Army service had been earned through combat engineering operations, where precision meant protecting fellow service members under impossible combat conditions rather than seeking recognition or career advancement that characterized normal civilian progression through peacetime employment. The moment when General Rodriguez recognized his Army service had lasted only minutes, but its impact continued for years, demonstrating that military excellence often remained hidden until circumstances revealed capabilities that transformed understanding of service dedication and extraordinary sacrifice that continued serving through civilian employment that maintained connection to warrior culture and Army values that protected freedom through structural superiority. His story became inspiration for other Army combat engineering veterans struggling with transition challenges, proving that military excellence could continue through civilian contractor positions that honored service background, while providing meaningful work that supported recovery from combat trauma and maintained connection to service mission that gave purpose to post-service careers and continued contribution to community safety through professional competence. This story was brought to you by Silent Salute, where we honor America's hidden warriors who continue serving in ways that communities rarely recognize until circumstances reveal the extraordinary service backgrounds that make their current contributions possible through structural expertise and professional competence earned during classified operations that shaped their character and capabilities under impossible combat circumstances and crisis coordination responsibilities. Before we leave you today, here's our question. Have you ever discovered that someone's facility skills revealed Army service that completely changed your understanding of their capabilities and the classified missions they completed during deployment operations that tested every aspect of their specialized training and structural assessment under extreme combat stress? Have you worked alongside veteran contractors whose professional competence masked military experience while they served in civilian positions that seemed routine but represented continued service to community through structural expertise earned during classified operations that protected national security? Tell us in the comments about moments when military capabilities were revealed and transformed your perspective on someone's service experience and continued commitment to excellence that honors fallen service members and operational sacrifice through professional competence that exceeds civilian understanding of specialized warfare requirements and structural coordination responsibilities. And if you believe that our most experienced military veterans often work without recognition while carrying psychological reminders of combat operations that shape their capabilities and dedication to service excellence, hit that subscribe button to support our channel's mission of honoring those whose military courage continues serving through civilian positions that maintain connection to warrior culture and Army values that protect freedom through engineering superiority. Nobody questions Martinez's facility expertise anymore. Not after General Rodriguez recognized the Army Combat Engineering Service that revealed years of classified operations where his structural competence and operational precision kept fellow service members alive during missions that history may never fully record, but whose legacy continues through civilian service that honors military sacrifice while inspiring others toward excellence that transcends recognition and represents true warrior spirit that never retires from service to others and protection of freedom through technical superiority.